JIT-TV, just in time.
Sanmunani babukele makhaya. My name is Andile Gugulethu. Intombi yakwaCindi uMahlaba, bringing you the roundup elections in Zimbabwe. I'd like to first congratulate the Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front for the perseverance and taking courage against their opposition party and President Emmerson Mnangagwa winning the second term as Zimbabwe's president. But however, the main opposition party, Citizens Coalition for Change, is disputing the results. Now, such excitement and a new phase for Zimbabwean people is apparently shut down by Chamisa after Citizens Coalition for Change leader who Sunday told reporters that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission had rigged the polls for President Mnangagwa. So the results are as follows. President Mnangagwa 80 won 52.6% of the ballots against 44% of the main challenger, Nelson Chamisa 45, according to the official results announced by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. But with so much eager and confidence Chamisa has about the rigging of votes and the chaos and havoc he is causing, seems as though he is being pushed, obliged, or rather threatened to do all this. Remember the whole scandal about where he gets his funds, you know, the white supremacist and all. Probably with this congestion happening, it's his time to pay back these supremacists. Zimbabwe, unfortunately, is not ready to be ruled by Chamisa and these white people again, and for the sanctions to take its toll again. But for now, let us have a look at what Mr. Rudendo Matinyarare had to say in this video.
So it's been almost 4 days of us listening to the apartheid South African media, the Western media, American media, British media, telling us that the election in Zimbabwe was rigged and stolen by ZANU-PF. But what is interesting is that in everything they've said, they have not told people that in Zimbabwe we've got a foolproof auditing system to ensure that no one can rig elections by stuffing the ballot. And this here is the V11 document that makes it impossible for you to steal elections in Zimbabwe by stuffing ballots. You see, ever since 2000, when sanctions were imposed on Zimbabwe to ensure that they can remove the Zimbabwean government through an opposition vote, there's been a lot of disputed elections. And these elections were disputed in 2000, 2002, and also disputed in 2008. So people like Thabo Mbeki and some other members of SADC decided that, listen, let's have a solution to this rigging issue. Because the opposition was saying, every time we have an election, the moment that ballots are taken from a polling station through to a counting center, ZANU-PF officials or government officials are stuffing the ballots. And because of that, we don't trust the results that come up. So people like Thabo Mbeki said, so from now onwards, we are not going to have the transportation of ballot boxes. But how it's going to work is this. We're going to have a polling station. At the polling station, you're going to have ZEC officials together with government officials, the police, and you're going to have agents of each political party, monitors of political parties, and even civil society. Then you're going to have observers and international observers, including intelligence agents of those people that are staffed in these observer missions, plus you're going to have the media. And these people are going to become an oversight mechanism, an auditing mechanism of the election. This was accepted in Zimbabwe. So what now would happen is that when a polling station is opened, all these people that I've told you about, we include the observers, the media, and the agents of each of the political parties meet. The ballot box comes, they look at the ballot box to see that it's not stuffed. They look at the ballot paper, they look at the ink, they look at the pens, they look at everything. When they are happy that these things are authentic, then the election process begins. Those agents, those observers, they can begin to document anything. They can count the number of people coming into the polling station. They can look at their behavior. They can record anything that they feel is irregular. But at the end of the election, if they feel that everything was okay, then a counting process happens and begins in front of all these people. The police, ZAC, government officials, and these observers and the agents of the opposition, plus the media, are all there. The counting of the ballots begins, they choose which one is for which is a spoiled ballot, and they throw away anything that they feel is not right. Once they have accepted this process, then they take out this form. And then this form is filled. It's got the parties, it's got the official who's doing this, plus witnesses who sign here. And then, if the parties are happy, then you have the parties that have won. The first two or first three are put here, and then they put their signatures to say, we accept the result. Once that happens, there is a stamp that is put there. Immediately, a copy of this, an audited document that is audited by all these stakeholders that I've told you about, is put into the ballot box and sealed in front of these people. And then a copy is taken, put on the outside so that the public, the media, anybody can take pictures and begin to record what it is that each and every polling station is recording. Then each and every of the officials of the political parties is given a copy. One is sent to the head office, to the regional office, to the provincial office, and eventually to the national office. Then there is a record of what has happened in a polling station and to confirm that there was a free and fair election in terms of counting. Because if we start talking about being unfree and unfair, then we have to talk about sanctions, how they rig, and we're not talking about that right now. Right. So, when you now have a dispute, what is supposed to happen is these V11s, which come from, I think, about 12,400 polling stations in the country, become the means by which a political party proves rigging. So now the election of Zimbabwe is finished. And all the councillors, the members of parliament are happy with their results. These include the opposition and the ruling party. But there's only one person, even in the presidential race, who is disputing the election result, and that's Nelson Chamisa. And Nelson Chamisa said that he lost because of rigging. And what was supposed to happen is, if he has a dispute with the results that were announced, in 48 hours of the result being announced, he was supposed to ask for a recount. And now that he didn't ask for a recount within 48 hours, he is supposed to now go to the courts, either the Electoral Court or the Constitutional Court or the Supreme Court. And there he is supposed to produce this, the audit document or the V11 that makes Zimbabwean elections rig-proof. So right now we are all asking, how is it that Nelson Chamisa knew that rigging had taken place if he does not have all the V11s? Because what we're hearing is that the opposition does not have all the V11s. And remember that in 2018, he also said that he had lost because of rigging. And when he was asked by the court to produce the V11s, he couldn't produce them because they never collected the V11s and they didn't have agents in certain polls. Now we're saying to Nelson Chamisa, produce the evidence, the V11s, to prove that the elections were rigged. Because if you fail to do that, and you have made a conclusion that the elections were rigged, and you have pronounced that to the international public, that includes investors, other governments that might sanction the country, then it means that you have gone out and given facts that are not true, knowing very well that there was no chance that they could be true, in order to tarnish the reputation of the country, the national interest of the country, and the sovereignty of the country. Therefore, you have broken the Criminal Law Codification and Amendment Act 22A 4B. And therefore you should be arrested for lying, because you're trying to force the world to look at Zimbabwe as a country with no rule of law, and a country that oppresses people, when you don't have any evidence to prove that just because you have lost elections. Remember, Donald Trump is currently going through the court system because he deliberately misguided the American people to believe that there was unfairness and there was cheating by the government that gave an election result. And when he went to court, he couldn't prove it. We must jail Chamisa if he can't prove the rigging, because he continues to put Zimbabwe in disrepute, and he puts the reputation of Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwean people at risk of sanctions, which then displace people into being refugees. As South Africans, you need to start asking yourself, why is it your media only invites anti-Zimbabweans onto their shows and never pro-Zimbabweans who know what they're talking about? What are they so afraid of to see people like myself on their shows? I mean, I had an interview with JIT-TVzw recently. He couldn't even put our interview onto YouTube, because what I say must be kept on their website, but it must not be easily accessible to the public so that you can assess for yourself. SABC, bunch of cowards. 702, we've got people like Aubrey Masango, cowards. Third tier, third level, BEE type tokens who don't know what they're doing. It's about time we start questioning.
And right about now, we have comments from Twitter, and we have one coming from Mr. David Matanga, and he says, folks, let me ask this question. If Advocate Nelson Chamisa says that the elections had irregularities and produced bad results, why then is he contesting the using of same figures from a badly arranged election as he allegedly claims? This is mental disorder syndrome. And the second one, it's coming from Pepukai, and this one says, if Nelson thinks elections were rigged, he should also denounce the results won by his MPs, because those elections were held on the same day by ZEC. Why is he accepting his MP winning but not accepting the presidential results? He can't be cherry picking to suit his narrative. And the last one, it is from Son of Kenzie, and he says, these elections have shown us openly how much U.S. Embassy Zimbabwe and its government are behind Chamisa. It now means that we, the people, should unite and fight American hypocrisy. America giving statements on Zimbabwe is a big no-no, and giving us instructions is a big no. Proper madness and a shame. South Africa must arrest them. They are being used by the American government, which we know is funding dissident activities in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has no problem with America, but America has a problem with Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you do watch Roundup Elections with me, Umagindi Isiyobonana futhi kwelizayo.